if I paid TDS once and if I further license it to the end user, there will be no requirement of paying the TDS twice if the first person has paid the TDS and is in a position to satisfy that he has paid TDS. Which means that the department very clearly is of the view that the first transaction or payment by the distributor to the software or whatever the end license was given you the end license is one of taxable software.
Yes, and unfortunately it only covers 194J.
That's right.
So, which means it's a pure domestic to domestic backend transaction.
You would like to get on Samsung? Because I think this explanation 2012, the retrospective must have come to Samsung. But Samsung at Karnataka High Court, the judge referred to it went to Supreme Court, came back, and then based on the copyright law, section 51 on infringement, 52 not infringement, they said they did not distinguish between copyright and copyrighted art. They said that it is all one. But really speaking, they are not considered section 52, which recognizes the copy of a copyright is different from the copyright.
It was amazing in those times when such decisions used to come out from the Karnataka High Court factory, and whenever we used to go to a council, we used to say Karnataka High Court decision, it will be over.
Yeah.
So
the judge also, we know the judge's name also. So now coming to this, I only want to, with 2012, you feel there is no case, even if it's a copyrighted product, even if it's a sale of a copy,
So
even in 2012, there is no case to say it's out of
I only give you that perspective of Samsung just to clear that point. So Samsung, as he said very clearly, first went on this principle that do you need to see whether there is income or not for 195 to apply. And they said no, irrespective of whether income or not, you have to apply it if the income is overall, and you have to go to the assessing officer to check whether 195 applies or not, otherwise you have to deduct taxes. So which went to Supreme Court, sent back. In the meantime, the Karnataka High Court in the case of Synopsys dealt with this entire thing, and they said no, the Income Tax Act is very wide. The term used is in respect of any rights of a copyright. I mean, in respect, again using a lot of case law, they said it is a much wider term, like you have that derived and attributable to that same kind of controversy. And hence they said that this is taxable, even without considering the explanation. The retrospective explanation. So with the retrospective explanation,
No, I am only asking you one thing before I advance the issue.
Yeah.
Because I like to deal with this issue because I like it. He asked me that, just to tell you, but this actual live case which is before, it's at stay matter, they have given stay. But at the indirect tax, they took a different view. They said the whole thing is service and ITSS. That is all. It's the other way. You said the whole thing is bad. They said the whole thing is services. The question was product or not a product, the service or product, the standardized software. I only want to ask you, are you saying with this Finance 2012 explanation, even if you are able to articulate that this is a and looking at section 14 of the copyright law, as well as section 51 and 52 of the copyright law, one can distinguish between what is a copyright and a copyrighted article, like a book. Those Samsung says that's all not there. Would you still say if we can articulate that this is a copyrighted article, like a book, even then royalty will be applicable?
Under the domestic law, it will
Even
be
after explanation, no case, no window.
Only, and the important point is.
I want to tell you one thing to his, sorry to interrupt you, about his possession. You see, electricity has been treated as goods. You are aware of that? Electricity has been considered as goods. Because based on, also there is a judgment which also similar to para 24 TCS. What does TCS say? That is incorporating an intangible incorporated media which can be transmitted, transferred, delivered, stored, possessed. Electricity can be transmitted, transferred, delivered. It can't be stored. Even then it's to held as goods. If electricity itself is goods, why can't a software be goods?
The other point.
Come to your view on this.
The last point I wanted to make was that in various tribunal judgments, the TCS decision has been referred to even under the
But it
Income
is
Tax Act.
subtle.
So
It
they
is
have
subtle.
said that income tax is very different from.
No, I feel this judgment, at least Samsung, I read many of the direct tax judgment, even the ISOTA judgment, they enter TCS and then quietly scuttle it because they have concluded that it is taxable and they come out. But they have not gone into it and said, let's pull the bull by the horns.
No, they say that the law is quite different. The
No,
subject matter
in
is.
this case it's not that, Because in this case he has scuttled the issue and then look at 50. Let me also, there in the US also, there are different courts. The court of Louisiana said one thing. So there is an issue there also, the product or service. The issue still remains. But if electricity is goods, is considered as goods, why not the software which is in a medium cannot be considered as goods? You have anything to say on that? Other than ask the indirect tax.
Well, I think that matters for indirect tax is concluded because TCS has said that it's goods. And in fact, TCS has used, the Supreme Court has used the same argument that there is a distinction between the copyright and a copyrighted article. And that's the proposition I'm bringing, that when this particular dealer is getting 10 copies of the software, he's getting copyrighted articles, he's the owner, he can very well dump them into the sea. And the foreign software developer will not be able to say anything. He doesn't need to sell it further. He may not go and sign the end user license agreement. He is the owner of the 10 copies which he buys. He can do whatever he wants. Of course, not infringing the copyright, which is another common law.
I think it's settled position that software is goods. I don't think there is any debate or controversy as far as indirect taxes are concerned. It's only the manner in which you license, sub-license, export, import or provide is where the taxability differs.
I'll certainly come. Before that, only quick reaction. If one arm very category says goods, the Income Tax Act can still deem a goods to be service.
No, I think really the question is not whether it's a goods or a service. The question is whether it is fitting into royalty. It could still be a goods and it could still fit under royalty.
Fine. So goods also can be royalty.
Yeah. So, no, as I mentioned, even in the context of the earlier second case study too, they said that if there is a transfer of all or any rights, so even if it is a good, but it is a transfer of, and you have got a right here, it should be royalty.
So even if it is good, it is good enough to tax.
Just 1 minute. Krishna sir, just to answer your question, one law versus other law, we are facing this consistent problem in customs, SDB valuation and transfer pricing. So customs guys are always saying that you have undervalued.
Yeah.
Transfer pricing guys are always saying that you have overvalued.
Yeah.
So both these people can differ.
Pull push pressure is always there.
And both the sides are determining their own value. They are not getting governed by there is a common thing.
With no values.
No, with lot of value. No value add, I would say.
So I think Vishal has raised two very pertinent questions, and this is more from an indirect tax perspective. I think for direct tax, for right now, we are on a more settled ground. We do not have any new issues. The two questions that he has raised, one is already an existing one is a future trap that we are heading into very soon. The first question is that can I sell something which I do not own? Now for that purpose, when you look at TCS, it is an accepted proposition that if you put it on a media, then it becomes goods and therefore I can sell it. To a certain extent, it brings in the flavor of exclusivity. But when I look at ISODA, when I look at Shasken, and I look at other judgments which have come in favor, or rather which have gone the other way, they say that you please look at the end user license agreement. Agreed copyright, agreed copyrighted article, but what does the end user license agreement give you? It gives you a right to use, not to do anything, and which is why I'm kind of confused, because in the earlier case study, you said that there is only one brand. There are copies of the brand and I'm allowing you to use it. In this case also, there is only one software, I'm allowing you to use it. Now this is first thing that I'm confused about. The second thing is that this is all said and done when you say that there is a CD, my life is little less difficult. But when there is no CD and I'm straight away downloading it from the net, there is no privity of contract between the distributor. Okay, to say that first it came into my hand and then it went over there. It straight away was downloaded, he only facilitated. And straight away the agreement of end user was also with the original vendor. In that case, where is the question of saying that there is a sale?
For the purposes of VAT laws or for a purpose of a transaction, there could be multiple transactions, but there could be one delivery. That's a proposition well settled many years ago. Now, that is one aspect which we need to bear in mind. So I can purchase the goods. I can tell that while I am buying the goods, I will not take delivery. I can sell it to you. I can give you a delivery order or a letter. You can go to my supplier and take delivery of the goods. All the same, also you are taking delivery directly, there are two transactions of sale. Of course, the point in time will be that only when he delivers to you, both the sales take place simultaneously, which is proposition
Last to bro.
maybe not also
Even before.
Bhamaya Bhimaya, if I remember correctly, 1950 something, and many others after that. Now, that is one aspect. Also, now they bear in mind the other aspect. You are completely right when you say that when you make a copy of the software on a CD, then you are saying you have multiple articles. In the same way, whenever you are downloading a copy on the internet, there are multiple copies which are generated, and that is how when you ultimately download the copy, there is still the original copy lying on the server of the developer, and you have your own copy. Now, nowhere under the VAT laws or in our constitution, for example, nowhere have we said goods means only tangible, it may be intangible, and there is no distinction between tangible and intangible goods. The minute a duplicate copy is generated, they will take the form of goods. The media is irrelevant, whether it is on a CD, whether it is on a DVD, whether it is on a floppy, or whether it is in electronic form. All the same, what you are getting is a copy which you can own. If you download, for example, a Microsoft software, maybe you get a CD or you download it, either way, the mode in which you acquire it, you are effectively, to my mind or to my interpretation, the owner forever. For example, in 2050, if your Office or Microsoft 1995 still works, you are welcome to use it. Bill Gates cannot come and tell you please don't use it. You can use it perpetually so long as you are able to do so on your hardware. So to that extent, you are the owner. Of course, again I repeat, you cannot infringe a copyright, but you are the owner forever. Just like you own the book. When I buy a book, I don't need to go into an end user license agreement with the author of the book. But having got that copyrighted article, I still under general law need to ensure that I do not infringe the copyright. So that's the proposition I'm making, that even there is effectively a duplicate or a third or a fourth or a millionth copy of that particular software also when someone downloads it, and the minute you give a command to the server to enable you to download it, there is effectively a duplicate copy made, the original still remains there, you get a copy. And that's where what you own.
Just 2 points. Can you say a sale can be completed when there is a fretter attached that I cannot do so many things? One. Number two, am I really the owner or am I only a user?
I think a sale can be completed when that fretter is put because of some other law, like the copyright or the IPR laws, which has nothing to do with your use. Now, let me articulate this better. You are buying a copyrighted article, but under some other law, there are certain restrictions on what you can do. For example, you cannot represent the material of a book as your own writing, right? That is under the copyright law. But to the extent of the copyrighted article or the book, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can tear it out. The highest right which any person has in our goods is the right to destroy, right? You can destroy that book. You cannot destroy the copyright. But that's something totally different. So to my mind, those fretters are not put as a transaction of sale. Those fretters are put as a transaction under some other law, and therefore this will still constitute a transaction of sale to my mind.
And the owner and user bit.
Again, as an owner, you are the owner of that book. You are the owner of the software. You may buy it and, as I mentioned, again, I may buy it and dump it into the sea. No one's going to
You are
ask
ignoring
for
the
it.
entire end user license.
Sorry?
You are ignoring the entire end user license.
How am I ignoring the entire end user license as in?
Because the agreement that you have accepted
Yeah.
says that I am only a user. It doesn't say that ownership is transferred.
That is to the extent of the copyright. Again, the end user license is not, to my mind, end user license only signifies your agreement in terms of the IPR, not in terms of that particular copy. So to the extent of your sale of that copy, it is complete. End user license says I will still abide by my IPR clauses.
I think we'll take it offline.
And you will not have an answer for it.
Roy? Just to react, Parin, at least I feel like it was an excellent answer.
Yeah, I do that. But I got two propositions. In a goods, there is a life to the goods. It has to be, it can be destroyed. Another proposition is, if I am having goods, you will not have. If you are having goods, I will not have. So in this particular case of a license, if you use the software, the Microsoft is also having the license, whereas I am also having. Still, whether it can be goods, and whether it is a perpetual in nature. So there is no, I think the life goes on, that doesn't have the limited shell of the life. So whether it satisfies the basic condition of the goods.
To my mind, yes. Levi's makes jeans number 531, particular design, particular cut. They made 5 million copies. You're the owner of that particular 5 million units. You're the owner of the pair of jeans you have. That's a particular design, that's a particular attribute, that's a particular quality of a product. The minute you have multiple copies, it's going to do a particular function or give you a particular design, just like a software or a book or any product which you buy, including this bottle.
Bhavin, if you don't mind, showing time is out.
Oh, 1 second.
Wow, okay, 1 second, come. You also answered 1 second. Huh?
The same logic can be applied to this franchise, copyright, everywhere it can be applied. Even the earlier the case study, same logic can be applied. Regarding one departmental store or this particular building which you are talking, same logic can be applied. Why only to software?
So there is a distinction between sale and lease. That exclusivity we are talking about lease and license and not sale. Limited point, limited answer. Half a minute.
The person, you wanted to say something, no? If you don't mind, here it is not senior citizen which is important. The juniors, let's give him a very young face, brilliant, looks very brilliant also. He looks very brilliant.
Sir, I'm questioning related to this case study only.
Yeah.
3.3 I'm referring to. Now, we confirm with the user that it is end-to-end solution which is being provided. But we have almost of us have seen that the department, maybe a service department or right department, tries to go deep into the matter. So just to understand that whether in such type of situation can they segregate saying that separate consideration or obligation is attributable to customized software, separate to bill of hardware, separate to this. So question over here is that they can always come to us and say that, I mean attention would be attracted saying that the customized software would attract service tax by virtue of that declared list entry. And the sale of hardware, okay, they are not interested. They are saying that okay, you pay VAT on that, but the nomenclature of end-to-end, they will not, I think they will not pay into it. So what is the view of the
So is this the view you are expressing or?
Exactly. Is he asking some view or you are giving your view?
Because that is, according to me, that's possible and that's the matter. If he is saying that this is a live matter, then possibly this is the matter which is before the courts as to not only the taxability part, but if it is taxable, then what is the value? Whether only a customized software is liable to service tax or the entire software is liable to service
So
tax.
number one is the segregation aspect is possible, and if yes, then yes, the valuation.
At the stage at least the court was inclined to agree that there are 4 different. Consideration was different. They said, okay, fine, we look at 4 different. Though the officer was done.
Sir,
Then you, one last?
may I make one point?
Yeah.
I think this is one point which we are going to increasingly argue before the courts in the coming years. Is it possible for the department or the taxing authority to split a transaction? To my mind, the taxing authority cannot tell you that this agreement is for a particular job, but this constitutes 4 transactions. Who is he to tell me how many transactions it constitutes? It's one transaction if I have agreed with my customer, it's one transaction, it is one transaction. So just because I have the agreement for a software solution, which is one deliverable, which is one turnkey responsibility or whatever you may call it, and it has 4 activities. He is no one to tell you that these are 4 transactions, and therefore I'll assess each transaction independently, one a service, one a sale, one a works contract or whatever it is. No way. That is not a proposition of law which the authorities have. It is a contract. A contract can be at best interpreted, it cannot be vivisected by them. That's anyway a proposition which is already accepted. And then you say that no, I will treat it. We have a recent matter of MCA 21, when MCA 21 boot contract, the department has gone ahead and said when you develop the software, it is sale by installment of the software. And when you upgraded the offices of MCA, it is a works contract of upgrading. Now the whole contract was for computerizing MCA 21. Then you are saying every activity I will split 20 different activities and try and determine the taxability of each of the 20 activities, which to my mind is absurd. And that's when you are going to argue and we are going to see a lot more litigation.
No, I think we are close or we have got chance.
Last question.
Last question. Now, you and you, between the two, can you decide who's going to ask the last question?
perhaps on direct.
Sir, please stick to this case study.
Sure, I will.
Please.
This is in connection to multiple aspects. So, can you just throw some light on the doctrine of aspect theory, how it will apply in such a multiple transactions going together?
Can you wanted something half 1 second specific where you can say yes or no. इतना बड़ा करेंगे तो दूसरा सेमिनार कर देंगे. Do anything 1 minute, 1 second.
That splitting of contract for a end-to-end solution or software, we have direct decision of Tata Infotech, where splitted contract is recognized because it was a contractual obligation. Another thing is accounting of the distributor of the Oracle in India. There they are treating as sale and purchase of goods. Nonetheless, they do not have any right to transfer the ownership. Because, I mean, I know the end user agreement, etc., all said and done, their rights under the distributionship agreement is only to enable them to pass the further sublease, sub-rights. So that being the case, even if they are recognizing their books as purchase and sale of sort of goods and entire revenue is recognized, ultimately what they are transferring is only right to use. So I will still say that they continue to be right to use of goods and not of services. Alright.
Fine. Anything? I was given the problem of summing up, but all of you have nicely summed up, so I am not summing up anything. I have summed up in the relevant at that point of time. So that is my sum. Only one thing I want to add to Sami. What end user, he kept on saying end user, jada ud raha. So according to me, end user, without end user also, actually there is always a right infringement rights. End user license only for the limited purpose to hit that nail in the coffin to say that if you violate any of my things, it's got nothing more than that. Now, before I whose word of thanks. Before that, I have just conclude that you all agree the 4 panel speakers, doing great jewels. It has been fantastic. I will just try to conclude like this. On the issue of goods, they were really good. On the issue of services, they gave us great services. On the issue of intangibles, the benefits were really tangible. In the issue of articles, well, they have given us a beautiful article to carry. That's all I want to say with a loud applause.
As Mr. N.C. Hegde told us in the beginning, life goes on, and here the debate goes on. The issues, the multidimensional issues, the objective of this seminar, I think all the panel members over here and the moderators, they have done it really extremely well and dwelled upon the various issues. Still, there are more debatable issues, but I think that for that we need to plan one more such seminar for a whole day. You can give your views for that, whether we can have it or not. And now I'll request Ashish Shah to give a formal vote of thanks. And I'm sorry the scheduled time was up to 1 o'clock, but with special permission we had taken it up to 1:30 today. It still got extended, but I think it was worth the wait. Ashish.
It is indeed a pleasure to conclude and present this very well deserving vote of thanks. As regards the conclusion, first of all I will say one announcement. Indirect Tax Committee has organized one RRC, third consequential RRC, which has been organized at Alibag this time, and probably date is 23rd January to 25th January. The notes, the circular has been given it to you while distributing the folder, so everyone is requested to enroll for the same because this RRC is restricted only for first 100 members. As coming to the presenting the very well deserving vote of thanks. Friends, in this 4 hours of journey, right from the morning 9:30 to 1:30, I think the 1:45, we have issued, the panel members have taken into consideration 3 issues, namely on the EPC contract and the intangibles, namely the trademarks and software, wherein they have taken into consideration various laws which would be applicable for each transaction. And I was counting what many laws has been there for each transaction, and I was surprised that 10 laws and so many and other treaties and FEMAs are applicable to the transaction. They have dealt with the customs law, excise, service tax, sales tax, income tax, withholding tax, FEMA, treaties, and number of judicial pronouncements. And this definitely has given a mark that while giving a transactional based advice, how many laws we have to taken into consideration while giving the advice. I concur to the quote which Mr. A.R. Krishnan has given in the beginning, that more you learn, more you will know, how much you less know. Everybody will be appreciated and agreed, but that by having the knowledge which has been given by all these panel speakers, now at the end we have come to know that so many we know while we are coming over here, and after hearing to them, how many less we know. Sir, all of you have not only given the insight of application of various laws which is applicable to the transactions, but you have also given the insight as to how to structure the transaction. That is a very unique thing, because everywhere we know what is the tax implication, but the structuring of the transaction really it's we have gained a lot. And lastly, I personally and on behalf of all the members present over here, give a very big thank you to all the panel speakers, and last but not least, Mr. A.R. Krishnan, and request all the members to carry out with a loud applause. Thank you very much.